If you recall last week's video on St. John Bosco's dream, the life-saving raft, you'll remember that he encountered St. Dominic Savio on a heavenly island. But who was St. Dominic Savio? In this video, we'll discuss how Don Bosco met Dominic Savio and how he came to the Oratory. The Miracles and Prophecies of St. John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Matthew Miller. Nearing the end of September 1854, Don Bosco led a number of his youngsters to Becky to relax in the pure air of those hills once the cholera epidemic had passed. Then, almost as a reward for what the Oratory had done for the sick, our Lord sent him a pupil to succeed him in luster and glory, Dominic Savio. Don Joseph Cugliero, the boy's teacher in Mondonio, a small village bordering Castelnuovo, had come to Turin around mid-year to speak to Don Bosco about Dominic. After describing the boy's exemplary conduct, the teacher concluded, "Here you may have young men who are equal to him, but hardly anyone will surpass him in talent and virtue. Test him, and you'll find a Saint Aloysius." Don Bosco agreed and decided to meet Dominic in Morialdo. The occasion was the novena and celebration of the Rosary. Don Bosco narrated his meeting with young Dominic Savio in his own words. He said, "It was the first Monday, early on the second day of October, when I saw a young boy approaching to speak to me, accompanied by his father. His cheerful face and respectful manner drew my attention. 'Who are you?' I asked him. 'Where are you from?' 'I'm Dominic Savio,' the boy replied. 'Don Cugliero, my teacher, told you about me, and we're from London.' I called him aside and asked about his studies and home life. We understood each other very quickly. I perceived a mind entirely conforming to the Spirit of the Lord in that young man. I was not a little astonished to witness the work of divine grace already forming the boy at such a young age. After talking for some time, Dominic asked me, before I called his father over, 'What do you think, Father? Will you take me to Turin to the Institute?' 'You look like good material to me,' I answered. 'Good material, Father? Good for what?' he asked. 'To make a vestment for our Lord,' I said. 'Ah, so I'm the cloth? Then you must be the tailor,' the boy said. 'Please take me with you and make a beautiful vestment for the Lord.' 'I fear your frailty will not hold up for study,' I said. 'Fear not,' the boy replied. 'The Lord, who has given me sanity and grace so far, will also help me in the future.' 'When you finish studying Latin, what would you like to do?' I asked him. 'If the Lord will grant me such a grace, I long to embrace the clerical state,' the boy said. 'Good, good,' I replied. 'Now I want to see if you have sufficient capacity for study. Take this booklet of Catholic readings and study this page. Then tomorrow return and recite it to me.' Having said this, I left him at liberty to amuse himself with other young men, and then I talked to his father. Not more than 8 minutes had passed when Dominic came forward laughing and said to me, 'If you want, I'll recite my page now.' I took the book back, and to my surprise, he had not only memorized the assigned page, but also understood the meaning. 'Bravo,' I said to him. 'You have anticipated my wishes, so I'll anticipate the answer. Yes, I'll take you to Turin. As of now, you're one of my dear Oratory boys. Pray to God that He will help you and me to do His holy will.' Not knowing how to express his contentment and gratitude, Dominic took my hand, shook it, kissed it several times, and then finally said, 'I hope to conduct myself in such a way that you'll never have to complain about my behavior.' Toward the end of October, the beginning of the school year was now approaching, and the newly accepted young men were entering the Oratory. Among the first was Dominic Savio, who went to Don Bosco's room to give himself wholly into the hands of his superiors. His gaze fell upon a wall hanging with the words that St. Francis de Sales used to repeat, "Da mihi animas, cattedra tolle." The boy read it carefully, and Don Bosco asked him to translate it and explain the meaning. "O Lord, give me souls and take all other things from me." Dominic thought for a moment and then added, "I understand. Here you're not a money store, but a soul store. Well, I hope my soul will also be part of this business." Without fail, he began to apply himself earnestly to study and all the duties of piety. He also wrote splendid essays on virtue that Don Bosco so well described later in a collection of Catholic readings. Dominic Savio had studied the principles of Latin at Mondonio. With diligent study and extraordinary ability, he was promoted to the second year of Latin. He took this course under the pious and charitable professor Giuseppe Bonzanino, who allowed several boys of the Oratory to attend his private school. It is true that Dominic appeared somewhat weak and puny, but his blend of seriousness combined with a kind disposition gave the man a truly angelic air. Before long, he won the hearts and esteem of all his companions. His motto was, "Death rather than sin." Thank you all so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe and click on the playlist I put on the screen to watch more of these videos. God bless you, and Our Lady keep you.